It's Toya, Combine Roar! Or Toyo to you, depending on which time zone you're in. Hello everyone, hello local, hi. Fancy meeting seeing you here. But in any case, we are gonna be doing more Great Ace Attorney Chronicles tonight. Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I played this. I played this like, I last played this in, actually it says right here, in January, look at that. So yeah, we're getting back into it. We are gonna be doing the second Soseki Natsume case. The secret case that we were told, or at least, that, I'm trying to remember. Oh no. No. Where, Rinosuke and Susato were told not to speak about. It was a little hush-hush. So much so that we didn't know that it was the case until the second game, so let's just get started. I had a little bit of a brain fart there. But anyways. The Memoirs of the Clouded Kokoro.
It was a ghastly tale of a winter's night. One of an invisible killer and a crime perpetrated on the pavement along Briar Road.
Oh no.
As the victim lay at death's door, the mystery of just who had stabbed the young lady from behind had
Oh yeah, this was olive green or something, right?
But
right in the Kokoro,
no
literally.
sooner had my friend saved that Eastern exchange student from his harrowing plight, then in the dim, flickering shadows of gaslight did a second bizarre crime rend the stillness of that very night.
He got accused of another crime?
I dare say most can still recall the sensational headlines of the day.
Go on.
Haunted apartment of death, the condemned criminal's curse, the dread demon of coal gas.
I see.
Yet, though the great detective had at once discerned the truth upon his arrival at the scene,
Gaslight, literally. I mean, it is,
it only proved to be the overture that announced the rising of the curtain.
It's not
on a
Victorian
most
era,
tragic
is it?
play.
It is the Victorian era, I think. Yeah, so it is like, they are still using like gas lamps and stuff. Like it was the early 1900s, basically. Okay, let's go. My name is Rinosuke Naruhodo. I'm a fledgling lawyer, just starting out on my journey. Hey, we're Rinosuke again. We're no longer Ryutaro Naruhodo. Lovely. 6 months ago, I arrived as a visiting student of law. Oh right, this is basically immediately after his second case, yeah. Having made a long voyage across the sea from the Empire of Japan to here, London, England. And on the way, in quite extraordinary circumstances, I made the acquaintance of a world-famous detective. Is Sherlock in this game? Unfortunately, Loco, Sherlock isn't in this game. We have the world-renowned detective, Sherlock Sholmes. You know? Currently, I reside in the attic of the detective's own lodgings, from where I run my legal consultancy of sorts. I've successfully defended a number of clients in Britain's highest court, the Old Bailey. Sherlock Holmes, as I said. A number of you mean two? And one who we've determined to have actually committed the crime in the last game. But since a particularly grueling and unforgettable legal battle 4 months ago now, I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. Oh! Wait! Oh, wait, so, okay, this is not, wait, this is not like, this is not after his second case. So this is him actually, this is like current day, because we don't see Susato's stuff here. So she's already went back to Japan, right? And 6 months. So like a number of cases, we have like McGilded, we have Natsume twice, I guess, and we've had Gina. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, all right. I take back what I said. Like a number of clients. Yes, absolutely. Okay. I haven't returned to the courtroom. In truth, I lost my right to return. But that epic trial was just one small part of an epic tale. A tale which was now about to awaken from slumber. Thanks to a letter that arrived this morning from my homeland. Oh, wait, that's from Susato. Okay, so it's present, quote unquote, present day, like in terms of like the story. And this is him like remembering about that case. Ah, hungry, I see. Good sir. Is Moriarty here too then? No. As far as I'm aware, Moriarty is not involved in the games. Dots. What a delicious smell wafting up the stairs. Oh, it's Iris's breakfast, right? It must be nearly time for breakfast. I'd better go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite. And say good morning to the great detective and his flatmate. "30th August, 7:28 a.m. Sholmes' suite. Lovely. Ah, Bruno! Good! Oh, I gotta do like a faux English accent again. Lovely. Hello, Iris. I was just about to call up to you. The bacon's ready. Oh, bacon. Nice. Sumptuous. Good morning, Iris. It smells delicious as usual. Before I eat, though, I have some news. Shh! Not another word, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, come on, making a detective game of Sholmes without Moriarty is just a travesty. It's not a detective game, it's a lawyer game. It's called Ace Attorney for a reason. This could be just the abstruse thing for my pre-breakfast stagnation repelling mental stimulation, my dear fellow. Morning to you too, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, I see. So, what the fuck? Why are you so close, Sholmes? I'm just noticing, like, he hasn't shown this, like, suit before, right? Like, he's in a vest and everything. This is new, right? I assume? Because usually he's, like, in his whole thing. Alright then. Sir, why are you so close? The truth is as clear to me as day. My faculties of observation have revealed it again. What are you talking about? You, Mr. Naruhodo, you have, this very morning, met with a surprise. I was about to talk about it, Sholmes, but alrighty then. Oh, is that not the case? Really, my dear fellow, it barely wants explanation. Firstly, your hair is particularly unkempt, somewhat reminiscent of a bird's nest. Secondly, you have neglected to fasten the third button of your jacket. Oh, okay, alright. Clearly, when considered together, these two facts point to you having been flustered this morning, or it could just be the fact that it's like basically 7:30 in the a.m., my guy. Yes, and as a lawyer, you just have to prove your client's innocence and totally don't have to search for clues and find a culprit like those pesky detectives. Exactly! See, you get it, local. You absolutely get it. Good job. Dots. Can I talk now? Well, of course. Though I don't look for admiration, you understand? My hair always looks like this. It's been this way since I first met you. Oh, it has? And the button was ripped off last night, if you remember. By you. What have you been doing, Sholmes? What? Hurley, put your button off! Dots. Ah, yes, I recall this incident now. It was after supper, was it not? As the evening advanced, I picked up my violin and began to play the wailing notes of a haunting tune. But then, to my utter dismay, the third string snapped. Why did it have to happen? Why? Little wonder then. Then in my vexation, I grabbed the first button I saw and ripped it from its proper place. You just grabbed its jacket and ripped it off. Dude? Sir? Are you okay? I mean, clearly not, but still, what? Well, I like the back now, please. It's troubling me that I can't fasten my jacket. And it's troubling me that you expect me to know where it is. Somewhere thereabouts on the floor, one presumes. Helpful. What matters at the present time, my dear fellow, is simply whether or not my deduction was unerring. But, Hurley, Runo said it when he came in, didn't he? I had a surprise this morning. Dots. Oh, that really is a surprise. Yes. This man is the pride of the British Empire. The famous consulting detective, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes. There can't be a single person in the world who doesn't know his name. I mean, I assume like places that don't have access to his books, but okay. I mean, you didn't know who he was before Susato told you, man, so... Alright then, enough of this silly conversation. Come and eat this bacon before it goes cold. And I have a new herbal tea for you. Sorry. And I have a new herbal tea for you to try too. My latest special blend. And here we have Iris Wilson, Mr. Sholmes' lodger and companion. A truly exceptional young girl who's the author of a highly successful serialization here in London, and also a 10-year-old medical doctor, somehow, yes. Yes, The Adventures of Sherlock Sholmes as published in Rance magazine. Why is she so steampunk? I mean, it is like steam and gas technology. It is like Victorian era. So it kind of is like hitting the cusp of like steampunkiness. Because if you notice, like even Sholmes' like vest, and if you like has a gear motif as well. It's a gear and clover motif. Oh, wow, that was a mistake. I was trying to. Yeah. Hang on, let me see. So, Mr. Naruhodo, why don't you put us out of our misery? What surprised you this fine morning? Well, I received a letter from Japan. The shelf has an assortment thing on it. Yeah, I assume it's like either mementos from like Sholmes' cases, or it's just like, cause it's like everything from like here to here, from here to the left side is all like Sholmes' stuff. Everything on from the right, from the bust onward, is all Iris' stuff. So I assume it's just like a really like random assortment of things from his cases that he solved. Oh, from Susie, you mean? Was it? Really? That's right. And she had some rather startling news, in fact. The one of Boot and Hammer. Yeah. I'm not sure what's going on with like the loafer and hammer though, to be honest. Ah, intriguing indeed. You must tell us all about it over breakfast. Oh yes, what fun! Oh, alright, let's converse. Miss Asano's letter. This is a letter that arrived from Japan this morning, by international post. Oh, how lovely! Look at Susie's beautiful writing. I wish I could read it. And how's your judicial assistant faring, may I ask? She's very well, thank you. In fact, according to what she's written, she actually appeared as a lawyer at the Japanese Supreme Court and won a case. Oh, really? Oh, isn't she wonderful? Yeah, she apparently cross-dressed too, because like, Japan doesn't allow women to appear as lawyers in court. Yeah, at the time. A cut above your good self, my dear fellow. I've won cases too, you know. Apparently, Mr. Natsume appeared in the trial as a witness. Natsume. No, I don't recall that name. Of course you do! We helped the man! Twice! Apparently. You know, in those 2 cases that took place on Briar Road 6 months ago. Yeah, 2 cases! The second one that we have absolutely no clue about. Ah! The mustached, twitchy man with the somewhat feline eyes and the mustache. He didn't have two mustaches, Hurley. Yes, who could forget those two cases? They made a very deep impression on me. Although I must confess, the details are a little hazy now. A very deep impression they made on you, clearly. Okay. So, what was the startling news penned by Mr. Sato? Do you remember the case of the haunted lodgings, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes! It's very interesting, you know. I don't feel entirely uncertain that a case of that nature did not occur. He's totally forgotten then. Anyway, in her letter, Mrs. Sato asked that we read over her case notes again and investigate further. Though it took place half a year ago. For what purpose? Because of something that Mr. Natsume said to her, apparently. He suggested that the real reason why she was called back to Japan so suddenly might have something to do with that case of the haunted lodgings. Oh. Oh, the serious Sholmes look. The front-facing Sholmes look. Oh. On Mr. Natsume's return to Japan, Mrs. Sato's father questioned him about the case, she says. And something Mr. Natsume said appeared to trouble Professor Mikotoba, prompting him to send that telegram. Oh, that case! Yes! It was very strange, wasn't it? Can we not dance around the case and talk about it? Yes. And I had compiled the whole story into a nice, neat manuscript ready for publication, too. But then Hurley here was all funny about it, remember? He was very mean. That story must not be published, you said. Very mysterious and mysteriously as well. Really? I said that. Are you sure? Do you perhaps know something about it as well, Mr. Sholmes? About why Mrs. Sato was suddenly told 4 months ago that she had to return to Japan? Mrs. Sato's repatriation? Damn, alright. Alright, we're certainly using our vocab today. It's been 4 months now since we waved Susie off at Dover. It was such a shock, wasn't it? The way she just suddenly announced that she had to go back to Japan. Indeed it was, due to a telegram she received from her homeland, I believe. That's right, telling her to return urgently. Yes, because her father had passed away. No, Sholmes! He fell ill, but he wasn't. No, it just said he was suffering from a high fever, the cause of which was unknown. He's not dead. But according to this letter, that news about her father's fever was just a ruse. A ruse! So Susie's daddy lied to her so that she'd make the... Oh, God. So Susie's daddy lied to her so that she'll make the voyage back home. Why would he do that? I have to admit, I have absolutely no idea. But she believes it's almost certainly related to the case of the haunted lodgings. Can we get to the case? No? Summoning her back to Japan so suddenly like that. I wonder what Mrs. Sato's father is hiding. Hurley, do you know what it's all about? Oh, hey, you're already in your code and stuff. Ah, well, who could say? What? But you said... Please, I have engagement, my dear fellow. My calendar is quite surprisingly full today. An astringent analysis of the matter would be excessive, I feel. Even if I were quite at leisure. So, man the fault of my absence, won't you, Iris? I will, Hurley, don't worry. See you later. So he's just not gonna be involved in this? Okay, alright. He scuttled off rather quickly there. Is he ever helpful? He can be. He can be very helpful. Like a lot. Okay, so this is my conspiracy theory because I haven't looked up spoilers, but like my conspiracy theory because with Sholmes is basically like he makes a lot of deductions, right? But for whatever reason, a lot of his deductions are incorrect, and then we have to help him navigate it correctly. But the way that the deductions are incorrect are so close to like the actual reason that I'm pretty sure he's just screwing with us. That he's just like making bad deductions purposefully so that we learn how to deduce things ourselves. There was, yeah, he has been very helpful in some cases. And if you want to be pedantic local, yes, is he ever helpful? Not was he ever helpful. Past and present tense, my guy. I think perhaps Professor Mikotoba wasn't the only person hiding something here. Soseki-san was involved in 2 cases, but only one of them was forbidden from being published. Yeah, the second one apparently. I'm guessing he got accused of another murder. By, of all people, Mr. Sholmes. Aha! I found him at last! Iris! Are they... Oh, yeah, that's her thick binder. Nice. The notes about the case? That's right. Susie and I compiled them together. The case of the haunted lodgings. Do you want to read them, Bruno? Dots. Absolutely. Thank you, Iris. Oh, yo, new music. Nice. Alrighty then. I have no idea what secrets could still be hiding in the shadows of this case. But perhaps if I read over the notes again, something might come to light. That's the spirit! Casually pulls out her gun. Okay. And so, Iris and I decided to read over the case notes again together. Everything from what happened, to our investigation, and that fierce battle in court that followed. Child got a gun. She does, and it shoots out paint palettes. Reliving every detail. I just need to find a clue. And I have all the time in the world. Because of course, I'm no longer allowed to practice law in the courts of Great Britain. Is it because we defended a guilty man and then admitted in court that, like, he was guilty? After the fact? Like, after we proved that he was innocent? Okay. Alright, let's time travel back, like, 6 months ago. There we go. It was 6 months ago. A mysterious incident that unfolded on the wintry streets of London. Olive green, right? A young woman was found lying on the snowy pavement of Briar Road with a knife in her back. Fortunately, her life was spared, but she was unconscious for several days following the incident. The fog was thick, and nobody saw her attacker, but by a cruel twist of fate, a visiting Japanese student was walking behind her at the time and was duly arrested. That man was Soseki-san, and the man who effected his arrest was Mr. Sholmes. Believing in our compatriot's innocence, Susato-san and I decided to represent Soseki-san in court. And, after a grueling trial of many twists and turns, we finally managed to prove his innocence. Joyful, joyous, jubilant, jubilation! You're just saying the same things twice. Was the man's reaction after the trial. But his jubilant jubilation was short-lived. We received a telegram from Mr. Sholmes the following morning. The victim of the Briar Road stabbing has regained consciousness. Hurry to birth at once. So Susato-san and I summoned a handsome and headed immediately to the hospital. And a hansom would be a historical term for carriage. Lovely. I had to look that up. Alright. Is that a rat? Holy, that is a rat. That's just straight up a... My god. That is just straight up a rat. Okay. 21st February. 5:30 a.m. St. Bartholomew's Hospital. Recovery ward. A 3D rat, literally. There you aren't lost! Good morning, Mr. Sholmes. I think not. Oh! Your lights! What on earth took you so long? Your telegram only arrived at 5 o'clock, Mr. Sholmes. And it's a 20-minute ride to the hospital. That's right. And it's 5:30 now. I think we made very good time. The time is utterly irrelevant. The fact is, I've been waiting for what has felt like an eternity. In point of fact, I myself was awoken at 4 this morning by a telegram boy. And feeling it was somewhat unjust that I alone had been aroused at such an hour, I sent one to you after an hour? Okay. Well, thanks for that. Anyway, you're here now. So, the victim is over there. She only just regained consciousness. Oh, hello, miss. Yo, you are short? Huh. You should introduce yourselves, and I shall observe from here. So you're not gonna do anything? Okay. So that's the lady who was found on the snow-covered pavement with the knife in her back. Her name is... Ah, yes, here we go. Miss Green. It is olive green, right? Or I can't see it, okay. Okay. So we still have these two pieces of evidence. This is where her body, this is where she was found, this is the lodgings, and this is your books, okay. You know, I'm gonna examine things, why not? What is this? Like, I don't know if it's like a clay model or something, just cause like it's gold, right? And then like there's the easel and the canvas here as well. Anyways, let's take a look. Oh, it's wood, huh? So it's just painted gold? Hmm. This rounded wooden figure isn't the most charming, is it? Ah, I don't think that's a decoration, Mr. Naruhodo. It's an artist's mannequin, I believe. He's been practicing sketching the human form in different poses. Really? It's not exactly what you'd call a typical figure for that purpose, though, is it? Ryunosuke, no! Not like this! No, I suppose not. I confess I've never seen one quite so full-figured before. Your cursor's out of place. Yeah, it's just one of those things, local. Because I'm playing this, full screen, so it's gonna be out of place. Because right now, on my side, this is the most right of the screen. Like, this is going into the black bars. It's just gonna be one of those things. Because, like, when I go around here, right? This is about where it is properly. But once I move to here, right, it's not tracking correctly. Yeah. Well, if you want to draw a full-figured person, it's the right tool for the job. Okay, let's look at this. Look, there's a photograph in this frame here. Oh, hello, who is this? Oh yes, it's a picture of a young gentleman. He looks to be about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. It's just you pointed thing with it from time to time. That's fair, that's fair. So I would have to like look to the side and kind of like go from there just a little bit. Cause like right now, if I look at my second screen, that would be his nose. But if I look at my right screen, that would be like the edge of the, like see like the edge of the portrait, like here. When I point to the nose like here, on my side, I'll be pointing like around here. Yeah. But yeah, I'll try to look at the second screen and be like, okay. He looks to be about the same age as Miss Green, I would say. Perhaps the young woman's special someone, do you think? Ooh, maybe. Aw, that smile. My, Mr. Naruhodo. I didn't know you had a sense for matters of the heart. Ouch. Ouch, Susato. Ouch. Not in the least. I sincerely said the first thing I thought of. Okay. So, what's the deal with this easel and canvas? Nothing? Okay. Can we take a look at this? Ah, this looks like the patient's treatment notes. Let's see. Do not feed. What? Do not, just straight up, do not feed. Do not feed this patient. What is this place, a zoo? You know, I seem to remember an almost identical sign in our local park. For the pigeons, yes. This is a person. Maybe Miss Green looks younger than I think. Maybe. Poor woman. I hope she hasn't read this. That's a big bag. She's a very short person. That must be a bag of Miss Green's personal belongings. She would have been brought directly here after her sound stab on the pavement, though. I expect a friend or family member probably brought some things for her. Nice. Alright then. Let's see what's inside. A change of clothes, no doubt it. If you're Inosuke, no! No, Mr. Naruhodo. You must never scrutinize a young maiden's personal belongings. But the young maiden might have chocolates, or biscuits, or caramel. Inosuke, what the hell? It could be her carrying bag. Yeah, no, because like she was stabbed coming from what we're presuming to be a bookstore. No, like when she was found stabbed, like she didn't have like any bags on her, so that's why they were like, why is there a bag here? Inosuke, not like this, man. My God. So what's the deal with the rat? Eek! A mouse, Mr. Naruhodo! An enormous mouse! She looked like she would fit in it. Honestly, given like how short she is, she might. Honestly. Vermin in the hospital. That doesn't seem the best. But it looks like a very healthy specimen, doesn't it? It's very plump. You are right. That is a very fat rat, mouse, whatever. I'm not sure that's down to the excellence of this facility, if that's what you were thinking. Let's look at the drugs. There are lots of bottles in that cabinet, aren't there? Do you think it's safe to keep them like that? If you were a patient here, I feel like you'd take some medicine by mistake when you were half asleep. I feel sure you'd take some medicine by mistake when we were half asleep. I mean, you would have to really purposefully like reach up, open the thing, and then take medicine. You know, like, I feel like that's definitely a couple of extra steps. That is a worry. But at least the cabinet has a lock, even if it's only a flimsy looking one. Oh, I've no doubt you managed to unlock that somehow while you were half asleep as well. I'm not sure if this is her thinking that like we are very skilled or we're just really determined to take like illicit meds. There are limits even to what I can do when I'm half asleep, you know, Mrs. Sato. Okay, let's take a look on the right side. Oh. Ah. This looks like the treatment notes for whoever's occupying this bed. Excuse me. Let's see. Do not permit to run around the hospital. Huh. Susato really wants us to take pills when we are half asleep. It's either that or she wants to see it happen. She's really like, yeah, I'm sure you're able to take those pills while half asleep. I'm sure. I'm full of confidence. The patient doesn't seem to be here at the moment, so... he or she's probably running around the hospital then. Oh dear. How worrying. I wonder who's meant to be here. What's worrying is why they haven't discharged the patient yet. And more medicine, right? There are all sorts of medicines in this cabinet. Look. I'm not sure if it's safe leaving them in reach of everyone like this. Yes, you're right. I can imagine if you were peckish, you might try a whole bottle or two. Susato, come on! We're not so lowbrow. We wouldn't just like take medicines if we were like especially hungry. Well, at least there seems to be a little lock to secure the cabinet doors. I don't imagine that would stop you if you were hungry. I worry that you'd break the lock. Susato, are you projecting right now? Ma'am? Hello? Why do you keep thinking we will like down the bottles or down the medicine? What is happening here? Hunger doesn't turn me into a criminal, you know, Miss Susato. Alrighty then. Hello, Miss Olive Green. Good morning. Oh, she's the artist, look at that. Hello, I'm, Rinosuke Naruhodo, from the Empire of Japan. Oh no! Was it your knife that? Are you the man who... No, it's not me, it's someone else. Susato thinks we really crave pills. I feel like Susato just thinks we are just super hungry all the time. No. I'm a lawyer. And I'm Susato Mikotoba. Pleased to meet you. Oh no, was it your knife then? Are you the one? No, I assure you. I'm Miss Naruhodo's judicial assistant. Man, I'm mixing up the accent, that's okay. We heard that you'd regain consciousness and wanted to come and to give you your best wishes. Snow help. Best wishes. For me. Thank you. I'm Olive Green. I'm an artist. Well, no, that's not right, is it? What I mean is, I'm trying to be an artist. Well, what I really mean is, I desperately want to be an artist. But the truth is, I don't have any talent. I know I don't. It's no wonder I was stabbed in the back. I don't think that's the reason why you were stabbed in the back. That was an accident because, you know, this guy's wife threw a knife out the window and it ricocheted off the window and hit you square in the back somehow. I don't think that's related, actually. Gosh, this young woman seems to bend over backwards to put herself down. Seeing as we're here, we should ask her about what happened from her perspective, I suppose. About the incident. To suddenly be struck in the back by a blade as you were walking along the pavement. What a terrible experience you had, Miss Green. Dots. It was so cold that day, and the fog was so thick, I couldn't see a thing. That was 4 days ago now, I think. Is that right? I think so, yeah. Yes, that's right. I'm afraid you've been comatose all that time. But the case has been solved, hasn't it? Well, I've been here in the hospital, I mean. Indeed it has, my dear madam. Spectacularly by none other than I, Herlock Sholmes. You didn't solve shit, dude! We were there! We were the one that solved it! What are you doing is desperately failing to be a witness? I mean, she was in a coma, dude. Mr. Sholmes, as you well know, it was Mr. Naruhodo's hard work in court that solved the case. Are you yet to hear what happened, Miss Green? Yes, I'm afraid so. A gentleman from the police force is supposed to be coming to fill me in shortly. Oh, I see. Me coming around seems to have made everyone frantically busy. I'm so sorry. I should never have regained consciousness. It was selfish of me. that's not the case, Miss Green. You know, we're glad you regained consciousness. Oh no. Oh no, we're also relieved that you're on the mend, Miss Green. Really, we are. She thinks every person she meets stabbed her and is here for some reason now. I mean, if you just woke up from a coma, knowing that you've been stabbed and we're told that from rumors of the case that a Japanese person stabbed you, and then 2 Japanese people showed up, for the time, it's understandable why she's kind of freaked out. Because she just woke up. You know? But still, yeah, it's a bit odd where she's like, oh, she's being like super frantic about it. With that kind of attitude, maybe your surname should be Blue, not Green. About yourself? So, you're an artist, are you, Miss Green? Oh no! Oh, I couldn't possibly claim that. I'm a fledgling artist at best. I mean, I'm a student of art, really. At the Thorndike Academy of Fine Arts. Oh my. An Academy of Fine Arts. Great Britain is such a wonderful country. Tell me, Miss Green, do you live hereabouts? Oh, no, actually. I don't deserve it, but I have a little flat on Brixton Road. I say. How very interesting. Brixton Road, wait. Alright, it's none of these streets, gotcha. But if you have a flat in Brixton Road, why were you on Briar Road? Like, what was your purpose there? Oh no! Is it? Brixton is some 10 stops away on the underground from here. And Thorndike Academy is a mere 3-minute walk from Brixton Town Center. Does that matter, Mr. Sholmes? Perhaps not. But Briar Road is a far less salubrious part of town by comparison, dealt in by those of inferior means, including the maleficent Mr. Mustache. Inferior means, I suppose Soseki's son does fit the bill. I mean, he's pretty poor because he's basically spending all his money on books. So I bet it'll be like that. She will be put in front of the guy we acquitted. Will be asked, "This is the guy who stabbed you," and she'll say yes. I mean, she wouldn't know because she was stabbed in the back, and we acquitted him already through a jury. So it doesn't matter like whether or not she says like he was the one who did it. To be fair, because we solved it without a reasonable doubt. We solved the case like completely on who did it and what happened. So. Okay, local, I'm just gonna stop you there. Alright, thank you. It struck me as somewhat out of the ordinary for a young fine arts student to be walking in such a district. That's what I'm saying, like, it doesn't seem like that's where she lived, or at least like from the small map that we saw, right? So, it doesn't make sense like why she would be there. Unless it's for an errand or something, but like, we're not exactly privy to that. That's all. Dots. What's this? She suddenly clammed up. Mr. Sholmes, you should be ashamed of yourself, prying into the young maiden's private affairs. I mean, he is a detective. Oh, dear me. Do forgive me. If you don't mind. I'm being discharged shortly, so I need to pack up my things. Oh, yes, of course. We won't keep you. Thank you so much, Miss Green. Is Miss Narrowfodder here? Mr. Narrowfodder? I assume you mean me. Narrowfodder now. Well, if you're looking for Naruhodo, the lawyer, that's me, but... Ah! Mr. Naruhodo! Good! This is for you! It's a message from a Mr. Saucy Nuts... Saucy Nutsmack? Okay, alright. Mr. Natsume, send a message. To me. But why would a policeman be delivering a message from Mr. Natsume? Because he's in jail again, I presume. Exactly. What's going on? What's a Scotland Yard constable doing playing delivery boy at this time in the morning? What are you waiting for? Let me see that. Oh! Dots. Well, this is most unexpected. Is something wrong, Mr. Sholmes? Is something wrong, Mrs. Sholmes? He says. Have you not seen this note? I mean, no, because you took it from us. No, how could I? No, how could I have? How could I have? It would seem that London's criminals have no intention of letting the great detective rest. A new case calls. A case of murder, no less. We must upon it at once. Murder? Call a cab. Time is of the essence. But the trouble is, we've yet to read Mr. Natsume's note. I was thinking we ought to pay a visit to his lodgings once we did. That will be entirely convenient. Can we see the note? Oh, I'm sure we will. Like, we haven't received... It's not a part of the court record yet, so... I feel like we will in like 5 seconds. Convenient? What do you mean? Because his lodgings is in prison! Let's go! It's all here in the notes, my dear fellows. The murder we must investigate took place at Mr. Mustache's lodgings. Wait, what? I'll hail a fireark? Fires? Fireark? Wait. Fiacre. Fiacre. Wait.
Fiacre.
Fiacre. Okay, Fiacre. Another historical another like historical slang for carriage. Lovely. All right. First we got handsome. We got Fiacre. All right, Fiacre. All right. Let's go. It was only yesterday that Soseki-san was in court, and we were dispelling doubts about his innocence. And now, the very next day, there's a murder on the man's own address. He may very well be the unluckiest man alive. Or so it seemed to us at the time. But we were soon to discover it was worse than we thought. New scene. Note not yet not read. I mean, I know basically just said that there was a murder that occurred at his residence, so... 21st February, 7:18 a.m. Mr. Natsume's lodgings, ground floor. Oh, crap! Alrighty then. He looks like an actor. What on earth? Oh my. The gentleman is deceased without question. He's dead. Wait, this guy, we saw this guy in like that case before in the previous game. Yeah, like he was like outside the building as we were walking around. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Mr. Natsume. Oh, why? Why is this happening? Why to me? I've only just got out of court yesterday. I was finally home after 2 days of misery. And then I wake up the next day to this. No early bird should catch a worm like this. Woeful worm without wiggle. I see you on high spirits again this morning, Mr. Mustache. Ah! Not the horrible Herlock Sholmes! Shoo! Shove off! Show yourself the door! I never invited you! I keep forgetting that that Soseki just really dislikes Herlock. Lovely. Mr. Mr. Sholmes came here with us. I'm quite sure he'll be able to help you, Mr. Natsume. I'm entirely at your disposal, Mr. Mustache. What can I do for you? Oh, hey, it's Gregson. Here they are already. The busybodies. I'm more of Natsume on this, I feel that. Ah, Inspector Gregson. What a pleasant surprise. Pleasant, is it? Gives me heartburn every time I see your face at a crime scene, Sholmes. Ha! I deduce, Inspector, that your heartburn is a result of your excessive consumption of fried food. Not wrong. Good morning, Inspector. Dots. This is a crime scene. Don't you go touching anything. Or good morning to you too, Sunshine. Okay, let's just examine everything. So who exactly is this guy? Oi! I said hands off! You're gonna mess up my crime scene. Oh, no. I just wanted to look, that's all. No chance. I know your kind. You'll mess it up just by looking at it. Someone's in a bad mood. There's certainly bad air in here, isn't there? Alright. It sounds like I better talk to Inspector first and try to curry some favor. Can I? Oh wait, we can't look at anything. Okay, fair enough. So, Inspector, what was the victim's name? Who was he? William Shamsphere, my god. I guess he really is a sham, huh? Mr. William Shamsphere was a lodger here. He's pretty out there, Mr. Shamsphere. As you can probably tell, he was an actor. A bit of a debt loss has happened, so just dead. I don't know about Dead Gregson. I heard his performances are to die for. You know? You'll be in for a grave time every time you see him perform. Mr. Shamsphere. He was the landlord, owed Mr. Garadab and the other lodger, Mr. Natsume, who found him. The fellow didn't rise at his usual hour, so Garadab got worried and kicked the door down. But doesn't Mr. Garadab have a bad leg? Oh yeah, you're right there. It was that jittery Japanese hunchback over there who actually did the kicking. Really? Soseki-san. I mean, he seems to... I mean, he did like karate chop like Susato's father in the neck accidentally, so... maybe he's just more skilled than we thought. The victim is pretty hard up, it seems. Even done some time inside for petty crimes. Oh, okay. He really is a sham. He had no money, no place to go, and no friends. His only acquaintances were the people in this house. Miserable life and a miserable end to it. So, what exactly is Mr. Natsume still doing here? He's not involved in the investigation, so shouldn't you have sent him away from the crime scene? I mean, like Natsume and Garadab are the three people aside from Shamsphere that were here, that were living here, right? So he's probably a suspect. Well, I'm not saying it's because the fellow looks odd or anything, or that he acts suspicious. But I thought it would be prudent to take a statement from the cohabiter. You nearly said culprit there, didn't you? Oh dear. Mr. Natsume appears to be under suspicion again. Well, yeah, I guess of course he is. It certainly seems that way. He does just come across as such an odd fellow, doesn't he? Poor man. How unfortunate. I mean, what's the evidence that's pinning him as a culprit? That's what I want to know. And how do we refute all of that? Anyway, I can't say much until the coroner gets here. But I don't think the fella's been a gunner that long. The body's still warm. So this is recent, okay. Even if the inspector would allow it, I don't think I could bring myself to touch a dead body. Well, I guess we're gonna talk to Natsume then. The policeman says so, in this game is enough evidence until you find someone else. Pretty much, yeah. That's how it is with Ace Attorney. It's not like innocent until proven guilty. You're guilty until you're proven innocent. It's like, even if you prove that like it's not the person, you have to pin the blame onto someone else. It's like that comment where it's like, Your Honor, I've proven that my client is innocent. And then the judge is like, well, who's the one that did it? And we're like, I don't know, but my client is innocent. I just proved it. And then the judge be like, well, someone should go to court. And then just Joe's him instead. And just Joe's like the defendant, even though you've proven him of like, even though you've proven that he's not guilty. Anyways, what a terrible thing to have happened. It's only been 3 days since I was arrested for the incident on the pavement outside. And then, having finally regained my freedom, it starts happening all over again. Endless existence of excruciating experiences. I feel that. I feel that, Soseki. So, the victim lived here on the ground floor, and her room is just 1 story up, isn't it? Yes, that's right. In a way, we were neighbors, I suppose. So, did you know the victim? Were you friends? Dots. Soseki? Or it's a yes or no question. Why do you seem so perturbed? Dots. Soseki? What's the matter with Soseki-san now? It was an innocent enough question, wasn't it? Why does he seem so shaken by it? Well, I suppose he wasn't a complete stranger. But did he ever invite me to his room? No, never! On my honor, I swear it. Okay, the fact that like, so you are hiding something from me, right? Like the fact that you're defending so hard against it. Like I already assumed that he already knows that like he's under suspicion and like, you know, the police are already suspecting him and are already like trying to piece things together to accuse him of the crime, but still. What an extreme reaction. You're probably wishing you never asked now, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? When we found him here, I felt wretched, which is why I sent word asking you to come. My guess is he's either in this room often or hates the guy. Maybe. Dude, an inspector over there! Sholmes? Sir? Where are you posing? Hello? Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing? Ha! You need only observe to know it, my dear fellow. Investigating! Naturally. I'm sure you are. There's nothing natural about that pose. Mr. Sholmes, have you made some miraculous discovery? Patience, my dear madam. Patience. We've not been here in this room 5 minutes. So far, all I've managed to deduce is what actually happened. Oh? Sir? My goodness. But isn't that everything we need to know, Mr. Sholmes? Now that you propose the idea, I believe one could indeed see it that way. At the present time, I have managed to draw two incontrovertible conclusions. The first, that there was a physical struggle. Excuse me. Wow. I got really gassy as I kept trying to use the accent, my god. Alright, let me continue. The first, that there was a physical struggle here last night in which the victim fought for his life. Okay. Mr. Natsume, what's wrong? Is something that Mr. Sholmes said significant somehow? No, don't mind me. Forget I was here. Okay, so you were in this room, right? You were in this room. And my second conclusion is that there was a poison lingering in the air here last night that passed the victim's lips. Oh, is that why you said that there was a bad air about the place? Huh. Interesting, interesting. No, nonsense! Alright, Mr. Natsume, why are you reacting so extremely to Mr. Sholmes' deductions? Like, dude, like literally the more you're reacting, the less hope we have for you right now. Like, seriously, what's going on? No, please, pretend I'm not here. Kind of hard to. In fact, it's very hard to. Invisible, ineffable, inscrutable, insignificant. I see. Impossible to ignore. You must tell us everything, Mr. Sholmes. Spare no detail. Dots. But of course. Let the theatrical tragedy before us be unraveled by my great deductions, presented for your pleasure in 2 acts. We've heard some truly astounding great deductions from Mr. Sholmes in the past. No doubt this will be no exception. What miracles will unfold before our eyes this time? Oh wait, it's gonna be a dance of deduction? Okay. Alrighty then. So, my dear fellows, for your delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1. Alrighty then, let's go. The great deduction. The game is afoot. Let's go. Let's see what we have to correct this time. Cause of death. Okay. Careful observation of the victim reveals to us the events that transpired in this disconsolate room last night. Film at the mouth of the deceased clearly indicates the use of poison. I'm not sure if it's the film or if it's like the eyes, but this could be like eyeshadow or something. That's a cake. Next to the victim, we notice a large dining plate which contains, you would observe, one half of a sizable bar of soap. Meaningful? Indubitably. Is that a bar of soap? Why is this soap set so purposely upon the dish? Like the victim's last supper, in fact. Yes. Oh, Shakespeare, poisoned by a kiss? Yes. Poison in general, one might say. But who knows? Maybe it's a poison maybe it's a sedative that acts like a poison. You know, it gives you the appearance of death, but you're not actually dead. Who knows? Could it be that the man was about to eat it, Of course, the fork reveals the answer, or it could be Natsume's fervent gaze off to the side. It appears that the young man's appetite was his undoing. Taking up arms in the form of his cutlery, the victim engaged in a deadly battle for his life. Yet the struggle against his hunger was in vain, for in the end he couldn't resist devouring the slippery feast. But London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. I mean, okay, to be fair, we do see something at his mouth, right? And it does look like it's like soap bubbles or soap suds. But like, would it last this long though, is the thing. Cause like, he recently died, but still, would it last longer than like an hour or two, right? Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the contents of the plate. I mean, if he ate soap, I feel like he will have a very upset stomach, right? So, the soap and the letter about the man's mouth are too perfectly matched to ignore. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to excessive ingestion of foul soap. Okay, sir, alright. Though personally, I have a greater interest in the taste of foul candle wax, of course. Sir, you're eating candle wax? Hello? What? Like, sir, you're eating candle wax. Of all things. Candle wax. Sir, you're eating... The cause of death identified, we proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was this suicide or murder? Better than some shows. Yeah, I feel that. The audience will recall that death occurred during the victim's last supper. Did a man dine and die alone? The single teacup suggests the answer. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. The careful criminal could have absconded with his own cup to cover his tracks. Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. So it is Natsume. Oh! Indeed, what reveals the answer, of course, is the broken lock. I'm sure that's from Natsume kicking the door in, dude. Though forced open now, at the time of the incident, this door was locked. And the sole key was in the victim's pocket. In other words, when the victim consumed the poison, he must have been alone. Alone with his inferior soap, from whence wafted an inferior scent. Sholmes, what? Sholmes! And with that acrid aroma lingering in the air, the victim met his end in tragic solitude. We can take comfort only in the fact that his soul was well cleansed in the way to the hereafter. It was really cleansed when he died. Yeah, I bet so. If he did indeed eat soap and died, then I guess when he died and he sees his body, he would have said, "Ah, what a sodding mess." I mean, come on, man. So we gotta fix this. Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes' great deduction. Again, my conspiracy theory is that he is purposefully screwing of us because it's like we have time or something, right? And like he's doing this so that we will correct him, and then be able to deduce things ourselves. That's my theory. Show him spitting bars of soap, literally. It's kind of bubbly. Dots. Dots. There's just one thing, Mr. Sholmes. You are disposed to identifying just one thing, aren't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Pray, what concerns you? Well, no matter how hungry he was, do you really think the man would have eaten soap? It is quite apparent that this man had barely a penny to his name. It is a curious thing, but to one so destitute, soap can suddenly appear quite irresistibly appetizing. I don't doubt that, but like, still. How extraordinary. In truth, I've tried a little soap myself in the past! Sir! Oh god! No! Sholmes, why were you trying soap? Why were you trying soap? Sir! You've eaten it, you mean? My dear fellow, that was some time ago now. My postulation was that it would cleanse my gut. I feel like it would just... No. You tried to know that candle wax is better. Yes. Yeah. And did it? As I writhed in agony on the floor and split the contents of my stomach, yes, I believe it did. I mean, you're not wrong, but Sholmes. The experience taught me a valuable lesson. Soap is quite poisonous. When did you try this? Why? It has an unpleasant taste and leads to great discomfort. In summary, I cannot recommend it. Believe me, I wouldn't eat it even if you did. There's something that troubles me as well, actually. Oh, what's that? It's Mr. Natsume. You mean the fact that he kept trembling and shivering and stuff like throughout that deduction? Ah! I can help notice him shuddering and quivering out of the corner of my eye. Almost as if Mr. Sholmes' deduction touched a nerve somehow. No, nonsense! Well, that clenched teeth... excuse me. Well, that clenched teeth episode didn't last. I think, judging by Mr. Natsume's reaction, the great detective's deductions may need some gentle corrections in order to reach the actual truth. Yes, Mr. Sholmes' observations and deductions are sometimes a little too sharp. He has a tendency to hit the nail on the side of the head and drive it in an obtuse angle. Is this... I'm pretty sure it's meant to look facing us, right? But like, is this stuck in animation? What? Anyways, when he does that, it falls to us to straighten things out. Alright, let's do it. Alright then, let's see what we can do. Yes, we must pick out the keywords in Mr. Sholmes' quite brilliant deductions, and discreetly exchange them for something that makes a little more sense. If we can do that, I'm sure we'll arrive at what Mr. Sholmes meant to say in the first place. In that case, are you ready for the second performance of the day? Once again, my dear fellows, for your continued delight and wonder, let the curtain rise. For Sherlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular, Act 1. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Okay, I'll only be voice acting the newer parts. Reveal some of the events that transpired in this disconsolate room. Okay, so where is Soseki looking at? Well, you can't deny that a fork implies the man was eating something, or about to eat something. Yes, that's true. If I were to decide to eat some soap, I would prefer to use a fork than to attempt it with chopsticks. And of course, only half of the bar of soap is left on the plate. But might there not be some other explanation? Something material that proves whether or not the man really ate some soap. Can we look at the other piece of soap? Yeah, we can. Because they're right there. Look, there's blah, 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 blah. Look, there's more soap on the floor here. Mr. Shams here must really have loved the soap. No, I think no, bro, it's just the other half of the soap. Let's not jump to conclusions, Mr. Naruhodo. Look closely at the soap. Do you see that it would fit together perfectly with the half bar on the table? What the? How can that be? I think they're two halves of the same bar that broke apart. Can we look at the teacup? Do you think he was drinking tea with his soap? The cup's empty, so there's no way of knowing. Ah, how about this for an idea? Perhaps the cup was full of water and he was dipping the soap in the water? And it was dissolving soap in it so he could gulp as much down as possible? I don't think he's that desperate. Aha, soap, plate, and fork. He was just washing his dishes. Lovely. Please remember that he might not actually have been the soap liver that he's been made out to be. What about the stains here? Nothing. Can you take a look at the fork? I'd suppose you eat soap with a fork, would you? Would you? I don't think it's a question of which implement you'd use. You shouldn't eat soap full stop. But then why? Why does the man have a fork in his hand? Oh dear. I understand your frustration, Mr. Naruhodo, but please don't take it out on me. The point is, if we decide the man used this fork to eat the soap, we wouldn't be changing Mr. Sholmes' deductions. So we really ought to consider some other clues. Fair enough. It's definitely not the fork, so... Okay, so he really holds on to this fork even after death. Yeah, it's like a really tight grasp. Look at that. Of course, the fork reveals the answer. No, of course, this reveals the answer.
Take that!
Because he wasn't about to eat the soap. There we go. Could it be that the man was about to eat it? Of course, the other piece of soap reveals the answer. It being the other half of the soap on the table. In short, the victim was not eating soap at all. But it's obvious, really. For no depth of hunger could drive any man to attempt to eat soap. Wow, you're really backtracking, huh, Sholmes? Even I, with my unquenchable thirst for practical knowledge, only took a single bite. You shouldn't take any bites to begin with. Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes. But that begs the question of how the man was poisoned, because there's no sign of any food on the table. An excellent observation, Mr. Naruhodo, and one that furnishes us with the answer we seek. For London's foul soap is besmirched by foul poison. Yes. The victim's life was claimed by poison. Okay, no, it's not. Mr. Sholmes is still pushing the soap argument then. Perhaps he's suggesting the man lick the soap rather than ate it. If soap is London is that poisonous, I don't think I want to be washing my hands with it. But there are no signs of any food in this room at all. Of course, poison isn't the only thing that passes people's lips, is it? Can we take a look at... I mean, she said it's not the only thing that passes his lips, so do we actually look at the fork then? If the victim didn't eat the soap, then what did he eat? Yes, it's a real mystery, isn't it? Ah, I've got it. What have you got, Rinosuke? He wasn't interested in eating the soap at all. It was this fork he wanted to satisfy his hunger with. Mr. Naruhodo, I really don't think it's helpful to continue with this line of reasoning that the gentleman had peculiar tastes. Susana-san has such a gentle way with words, but I know when I've been told off. Then the teacup. It's empty. And we do see like, it might be the shadow, but we do see a little bit of thing. Yes. A Western vessel for the serving of infusions of dried tea leaves. It's a teacup, Mr. Naruhodo, as you well know. Stop putting on airs. And it's empty. Ah, so we've already established that the victim wasn't eating soap when he died. However, there's significant evidence to suggest that he was drinking tea. My thoughts exactly. Well, it has to be the teacup.
Take that!
There we go. Yes, the victim's life was claimed by poison that tainted the teacup. Indeed, cups have been the vessels of choice for practicing poisoners over the centuries. It would appear that this victim drank every last drop. There's no sign of food anywhere in the room. Which leads us to the immutable conclusion. The cause of death was clearly intoxication due to the ingestion of poison contained in this teacup. Lovely. I mean, we do know that Soseki has tea in his room. We did see his teapot. The cause of death identified, we proceed to Act 2, where we ponder the next question. Was this suicide or murder? Oh. Last Supper, yep. Did the man dine and die alone? The single teacup... It's not a single, there are two. Ah. The Western vessel for infused hot drinks again. It's already featured heavily in our deduction so far. Yes. We can imagine that shortly before his death, Mr. Shamsir was having a drink of tea. Yeah, but if we look at his left hand as we were turning around and stuff, there's another teacup in his hand. So that implies that there were two people here. There would be nothing remarkable about that. But what troubles me is Mr. Natsume's reaction when he heard Mr. Sholmes suggest it. There's more to this deduction than it seems. We must closely examine the scene of the crime again for some more clues. The other teacup. It's another Western. Hang on. It's another Western vessel for infused. It's a teacup, and it too is empty. Given that he's actually holding this one in his hand, it means that this is the one that he drank. We can assume that this is the cup from which Mr. Shamsir was actually drinking. Dots. But if that's the case, this changes everything. Everything we've deduced up to now is turned on its head. I have a bad feeling about this. I almost don't want to say it. Yes, I know exactly how you feel. The other teacup. Did a man dine and die alone? This other teacup suggests the answer. Yes, there were 2 teacups in his room all along. In other words, this is a strong indication that at its victim's last supper, there was a guest present. At the very least, we can now say with certainty that somebody else was here in this room last night, taking tea with the victim. What are you talking about? Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. Why are you reacting this much, Soseki? Come on. To draw a conclusion on such meager evidence would be foolish, however, certainly. In which case, what more can we deduce about this possible guest at the table? Well, allow me to lift the veil of doubt, my dear fellow. Do you mean to say you know who exactly was in this room at the time of the victim's death? Indeed. It's not the broken lock. It's not, sir. I'm not sure I like where this deduction is going now. I'm afraid it's too late to go back to the halcyon days of eating too much soap. Yeah. But the identity of the guest who was in here last night when the victim passed away is Soseki. It's something I have a very bad feeling about. Well, we can try to ignore your feelings, but we cannot ignore the truth, Mr. Naruhodo. No, I suppose not. Time to look around again. It's the books, isn't it? It's the books. At first glance, it seems that the only things in his room are the makeshift stage and the costumes. I overlooked these 3 books initially. I wonder what they are. Let's see. The titles read, The Picture of Monsieur Lecoq, Canterbury Yearnings, and these are the books that Soseki had on him, huh? A Meal for Gabriel? Dots. Wait, I'm sure I've heard those titles before. It could just be an incredible coincidence, but they're the exact same 3 books that Mr. Natsume purchased the other day. What? Yes. On the day of the unfortunate incident when Miss Green was stabbed. Soseki-san had just been to the bookshop and bought them. That's right. And now those 3 titles are here in the room with the victim. Yet Mr. Natsume claims never to have been here before. Dots. What does this mean, do you think? I really don't know what to make of it. He was the guest. Clearly. Pile of familiar books. Yeah. It's this. I'm sorry, Soseki. But you can't lie. But you can't gas. You can't like gatekeep girlboss your way out of this. Indeed. What reveals the answer, of course, is the pile of familiar books. Quite so. It's no mere coincidence that these 3 titles are here in this room. It's a link to the truth. Mr. Natsume, you purchased these books 4 days ago at the second-hand bookshop. That's just a coincidence. In that case, you'll be able to bring the same 3 titles from your own room, will you not? This very moment. Dots. No, never, non-negotiable. If you can't bring your own copies here, it proves that these 3 books are in fact yours. Konbanra. Vaka, hello! Konbanra to you too! Let me give you a little shout out. Hello. How are you? I hope you've been doing good. Oh my god, he's the posing? Alright. Having purchased the books 4 days ago and returned to your lodgings, you were arrested the very next day. I'm working a lot more. I see. I hope you're getting enough time to rest and decompress when you can, though. Have an amazing stream. Thank you, Vodka. I appreciate it. So you could conceivably have brought the books here on that evening, but you never mentioned them. In other words, you could have brought these 3 books here to the victim's room. Oh my god, oh god, the pose. Posing! Last night, having returned to your lodgings after the trial concluded at the Old Bailey. In short, there's only one possible conclusion. The victim died here in his room last night as a result of poisoning. And that same night, the victim had a visitor. And that visitor... oh god. Is unfortunately you, Soseki Natsume. Was you, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Thus concludes the final act of Herlock Sholmes' great deduction. My god, so we were the ones that implicated Soseki? God damn it. Alright. We gave the cops like the evidence needed. Shit. Now we gotta refute our own points on why he couldn't have been the person who killed him. Cause we know he isn't, because like in present day he's in Japan. Not again. Not again. Not again. Not again! Well then, Mr. Natsume. It appears you're gonna have to accompany me down to the yard. Again. But wait! Hold your horses! Maybe he is. Nah, he definitely isn't. Yes? Door, key, locked, entry, exit, entirely impossible. Cause like, the first case in this game had him as a witness. I mean like in the sequel had him as a witness, and that was like, that was 6 months later in Japan. You know? If he did kill Shamsphere, then he wouldn't have been able to leave England to Japan. Like, he doesn't have the connections to, like, abscond, is the thing. And the fact is that, like, we caught this our second case with him, implying that we did solve it. And because, like, at the start, Rinosuke was like, yeah, and if I actually solved, like, I've had, like, many clients before that I've helped, acquitted, among other things. He's so flustered, he's being even stranger than normal. What? You think that's an alibi? You could have just made a copy. What? You live in the same building after all. After all. You'd have plenty of opportunity, I'm sure. After all. That sounds weird. Anyways. But... Misery me! Sorry, sir. You'll get your chance to give your side of the story later. The facts speak for themselves, Mr. Mustache. You horrible Herlock Sholmes. He really has found himself an arch rival now, hasn't he? Come on now, no dilly-dallying. Outside. There's a carriage waiting. Look, consider Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I never imagined I'd be in this position again, but we'll defend you. Soseki, we will defend you. We have to. You have to help me! Please, please! I'm innocent! Alright, I understand. I'll come to your cell later and talk about it. And one more thing. Oh, yes? My My poor little kitty cat. Please give him breakfast for me. No, Wagahai. Do you have his breakfast though? And so, his evil curse still apparently unbroken. Soseki-san found himself once again the prime suspect of a case of murder. Lovely. Thanks to the incriminating deduction of the great detective. My dear fellow, that honor belongs to you! Shit, that's true. We were the ones who corrected it. We were the ones who corrected it. But we kept our mouth shut. Well, at least that means Inspector Gregson is no longer here. We can examine the crime scene in more detail now. Yes, that's right. Ah, and of course... What? Have you forgotten what the inspector mentioned before? It was the landlord, Mr. Garadab, who discovered Mr. Shamspear. Ah, Mr. John Garadab. Yes. I expect we could find him in his sitting room on the top floor as usual. Right. We must remember to go and talk to him later, then. I mean, hey, we put his wife in prison, but yeah, we'll talk to him in a bit. Okay. She's 20, okay. 33, 34, 31. A failed actor. Okay, gosh. Okay, before I continue, I'm gonna head to the bathroom really quickly. So I'm just gonna pop them by like this and just enjoy the executing music. I'll be right back. I'm back. Okay. Let's carry on. Bum, 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 bum. Let's just examine everything now. Alright, Shamspear, let's take a look at you. Oh, the poor man. So young to die. Do you suppose it was a very painful death, being poisoned as he was? I don't know. All we can do now is hope that he'll be reborn into a better life. Yes, I suppose you're right. I wonder. Do you think that putting our hands together in a Japanese prayer will help a British soul? Sorry? Like, oh, I see. To like pray for him. I made sure I had a reference at the ready for just such an occasion as this, actually. You, really? Okay. This book is entitled The Beginner's Guide to Praying for the Departed, the British Way. There's a book like that? Really? I'll just reread it now. One moment. There's quite a spine on that book, isn't there? Okay. Oh, that looks interesting. What's this? It looks like part of an envelope, I think. Yes, I think you might be right. Perhaps it was torn off when the letter was opened. Is that significant? Well, it's a little out of place, perhaps. When you look around the room, there's no sign of a letter, or the rest of the envelope, in fact, is there? I mean, if we take a look at, like, the little part, oh, I cannot move down. But you see, like, where, like, the shard is, right? To, like, like, right below it. You see that there's a little, like, cut of wood there, so he might be hiding the letters there. Ah, she's right. And yet, here we have the turn-off end of an envelope. It just strikes me as unusual. I agree. We'd better take this, just in case. The turn-off end of envelope has been entered into the court record. A ripped piece of an envelope that was found in Mr. Shamspear's room. The rest of the envelope could not be located. Or we can we not take a look here? No? Are you sure about that? Nothing in particular of note to note? Well, we know why the bricks are here, because of window tax. As we've seen from the outside, the window is completely bricked up. A vestige of the former window tax that Britons had to pay. What strange things they used to tax in Great Britain. I mean, making people pay for the number of windows they had in a property. That's extraordinary. It's heartbreaking to think of the poor having to block up their windows just to avoid an unaffordable tax. Oh! What is it, Mrs. Sato? If you look closely, a number of the bricks are loose. Oh? Oh! Yeah, the bottom right. Huh. Bars of soap! Yo! Oh yes. It looks as though an amateur has broken out a few of them just here. Was it Mr. Shamspear who did it, I wonder? Being a lodger renting this room. Look at this, Mr. Naruhodo. On the outside, there's a little ledge. And there's something on it. What, outside? Yeah, just straight up soap. Hang on, let's take a look. Brr. It's so cold outside. You can feel it through this gap. It did snow all last night. It would be cold. But more importantly, what is it on the ledge out there? What are those snow-covered lumps? Soap, clearly. It's more bars of soap. Soap. What are bars of soap doing lined up on the ledge outside the window? I have no idea. But the pair of them look rather charming like that. Yeah, it's almost cute, kinda. Still, that's very strange, isn't it? Bars of soap lined up outside the window. I think perhaps we should take one. There are two after all. Oh dear. I suppose we could. Oh, what's this? Look here at the soap. Ah. Do you see? in the middle there. There's a patch that's a different color. It's sort of transparent, but some sort of fancy design, I suppose. Only in Great Britain. Well, it's taken. It looks like the Hinamaru flag of Japan, doesn't it? How wonderful. It's probably a very expensive brand. I doubt it. Expensive? Then what's it doing in this ramshackle old room? The bar of soap has been entered into the court record. Well, it was a good thing we took a look there. Anyways, let's see. Let's examine it. Is there anything here we could see? Whoever opened this envelope didn't bother with a lotto opener or scissors, did they? Dots. Yes, whoever opened it was clearly someone with an unrefined temperament. Just judging from the angle of the rip here, the person in question must have been right-handed. Mrs. Sato, I think perhaps someone's been reading too much of the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. You can never read too much of it, Mr. Naruhodo. Never! Like, this will be the back of the envelope, right? A cheap bar of soap was discovered. Okay, let's take a look. What exactly is this? This part is a different color. It's quite an exquisite design, isn't it? It doesn't seem intentional, right? Given the little grooves here. Trust the British to turn the boring bar of soap into something special. I quite like it. It reminds me of the Hinamaru design of the Japanese flag. I expect this is rather expensive soap. That doesn't seem likely, given who it belongs to. And here we have another disproportionately large machine. This looks like a meter of some kind. It's the gas meter, right? Ah, this is a gas meter, I think. Nice. It seems that in this district, residents pay for gases to use it with coins. Ah, I see. Yes, now that you pointed it out, right, like at the top left of it, here. You can see it, like the little coin slot. I can see there's a slot just here that looks like it would take a coin. So you mean if you put a coin in here? That's right. That will buy you about 2 hours of gas for lights and heating. So if you were a poor person with no money, you'd have to sleep in the freezing cold. Yes. Or if you were a scatterbrain with no change because you forgot to exchange your money at the bank. Thank goodness there's no meter in our office. Oh? Oh, this is a light. Yeah. This is a gas wall light, isn't it? It must be connected to a gas pipe in the wall, like, yeah. Right here. Gas lights, a gas stove. London really is a city of gas. But now that I think about it, Mr. and Mrs. Garadab had an open fire on the top floor, didn't they? I mean, it's probably cheaper than actually using gas, you know? Oh yes, you're right. I don't recall seeing a gas stove up there. Well, I much prefer a real fire anyway. It's so much cozier. Let's look at the costumes. Look at these extravagant bright costumes. Somehow they look out of place in this room, with its grim, shady going-ons. This one looks like a king's attire, or potentially a jester. A king. I've always dreamt of being a king. Oh, I think you'd be more suited to a feudal lord, a daimyo, or such like. Oh. With a chonmage top knot? Every Japanese man wishes he had a... Is it chonmage or chonmage? I think it's chonmage. Chonmage? Let me look it up. Yeah, I think it's chonmage. Yeah. Oh, you look wonderful with one, and you already have the sword. That's true. He is carrying around a katana. Yep, it's Chanmage. Anyways. Can you imagine what would happen if I walked around the streets of London with a Chanmage and a sword? They would think we were invading. Potentially. Okay. Broken glass and broken bottles. There's not much on these shelves, is there? Just this wine glass and bottle. And both of them are cracked. Yes. Not much use are they? Dots. What's the matter? Oh, I was just reminded of the Reaper. That's because he keeps breaking his chalices and wine bottles. My god. What a character. How kooky. Prosecutor Lord Von Zeeks. Yes. He's so reckless with his wine glasses. I was thinking that it's a waste and he should donate some to the needy. He should donate some of his wine glasses to the needy? Would they even need wine glasses? You can suggest it next time we meet. Okay, everything on this side should be done. Oh. Take a look at the stage. This is some sort of makeshift stage, I think, isn't it? Where does the audience sit, though? For the nightly Shakespeare performances. Actors aspiring to the grand stage must practice their art, Mr. Naruhodo, with or without an audience. In fact, on a related note, perhaps you should set up a mock bench for the defense in your office. What? Then you could practice your art every single day! Dot, I feel like that's a little excessive. I'll think about it. If you promise to don a beard and play the role of the judge. Well, if that will help you achieve your goal, how else would they drink their wine? Fair enough, Loco. Fair enough. This I have to see. Man, that's kind of cute. Is there anything else in this room? Doesn't look like it. Like, can we properly examine his body? No? Oh, wait, teacup. Ah, one of the teacups that Mr. Shamsir and his guests drank from last night. But don't go drinking from them, Mr. Naruhodo. There's bitter poison inside. I'm not planning on drinking any, don't worry. Anyway, the cups are both empty. That's true. So, one of Mr. Shamsir's, and the other must be the cup that Mr. Natsume was drinking from. But Soseki-san wasn't poisoned, of course. Perhaps you should take these so we can examine them in more detail later. A pair. Oh, okay. Nice. Alright, that's all that we can gather from here. Sorry, we're gonna take a look at the cups. Oh? It's kind of interesting that this has one chip here and two chips here. This is the teacup from which Mr. Natsume was drinking. Yes. Unlike the other one, the insides of the cup is completely clean. Oh, the little thing here. I suppose he must have drunk the contents before the tea had a chance to leave a mark. I always gulped it down too. Sorry, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, if you just sip it little by little, it goes cold, but you're not appreciating the flavor. Clearly, I shall have to instruct you in the proper way to take tea. There's no tea ring inside of Mr. Natsume's cup. But the thing is this actually tea ring or is it a wine stain? This must be the cup that Mr. Shamsir was drinking from then. It's stained on the inside. Tea does that, I'm afraid. Even green tea. Oh, really? I never noticed it before. You've never noticed? Well, I never leave it in the cup long enough to leave a mark. I like to gulp it down. Drink tea, Lantan! It's a Japanese way, isn't it? Oh dear. So many people seem to have the wrong idea about our culture, and most of them are Japanese. I'm betting that it's like, cause it looks more red, right? Like even red tea leaves more of like a darker or like a brown stain. So I'm guessing that he was probably drinking wine from this. And because if you want to think like popular fiction, right? Usually you hide poison in wine because wine can mask the flavor of it more. But then we consider this, right? Like, but these two have the same stain marks. And we're assuming that this is where they drank their tea. We saw that Shamsir had his teacup on the left side, right? So he was holding it on his left hand, and this is where it is, which meaning Natsume was holding on his right, drinking it from here. And since they basically have the exact same tea stains, maybe it actually is tea that they drink. But yeah, it's literally the same texture too, so it's like, Are there marks in the bottom? Nope, nothing at the bottom. It's only the difference that there was no tea stain here and there was here, right? But then you do see that there are stains here from where their lips touched, right? Because we know that Shamsir had it in his left hand. So they definitely drank tea together, but then I'm willing to bet that, like, it's probably wine too, because he does have a wine bottle in there for some reason. Lines have different colors. Yeah, no, like, these lines are different colors. I mean, like, the stains. You see the stains here? Like, where my... Oh, wait. Like, you see the stains here, where the blue cursor is pointing? Here and here. We know that Shamsir was holding the cup in his left hand. So this is his lips here. And then Natsume is holding it in his right hand, because the stains are here. And because he doesn't have any tea stains in here, and we're thinking that is because he just gulped it down. There are tea stains here, but then obviously they're not really touching it, right? So it's either this is actually tea, or he drank tea with Natsume and then was drinking wine, and then that's how he was poisoned, potentially. Looks like you're having a good snoop around, eh? It's Gregson, yeah. Inspector Gregson, back so soon? After I threw that little Japanese fella in the clique, I went and reported this to the investigation division. In 5 minutes' time, this place will be cordoned off by the yard. Oh, I see. Well, we better be leaving then. Poor Mr. Natsume must be feeling very low, being back in the cell again so soon. I'm sure. Oh, what the fuck? We should probably go and... He's alive! What's wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? Sir? Were you just faking being dead? Okay. Out, out, brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow. A poor player. That struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. He's posing like Soseki, right? It's the same like almost dabbing pose that Soseki does. Nuts. So you're not dead. And nowhere ever checked or noticed. I guess they just assumed that since it was passed out. I don't know. Now, how it soundeth the next part. He really just asked line, not even Shomes. I feel like Shomes noticed. He was just screwing around. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Indeed! Oh, happy day! Uh-oh. What? Is he dead now, or what? What's happening here? Huh? What is happening here? Like, he was quoting Macbeth, but like, bro, what? Come on. Walking Dead! Can we get the guy out of cell? Like, cause clearly he didn't kill anyone, right? He's not dead? Get him out of there. The fella isn't dead at all. How did you not check? What was that nonsense he was saying though? He was quoting Macbeth, bro. I think, yes, it was from William Shakespeare's Macbeth. A soliloquy from Act 5, Scene 5. Yay. Shakespeare. Shamspeare. Hehe. So it was that the victim, Mr. William Shamspeare, came back to life. If the man had indeed been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. Wait, hang on. If the man had indeed been poisoned, it transpired that it hadn't killed him. He was taken by emergency carriage to a nearby hospital for treatment. And Inspector Gregson evicted us from the scene of the crime. Whatever that now is. Whatever that now was. I don't understand why we didn't check. I'm still confused on how policemen didn't check. I think like maybe because like Soseki knocked the door down, Gary Dab and Soseki saw it, thought that he was a dead person, called the cops, cops came, just took it at face value because like he wasn't waking up like after like prodding, I guess. Like damn. But okay, good sir. So oh? Who is this? Who is this outside there? 21st February, Briar Road. Whatever do you think will happen now? Good question. What a strange situation for Mr. Natsume. Arrested for murder, but then the victim comes back to life. I think perhaps the victim was never dead in the first place. It seems very likely that Mr. Shamspeare did consume poison, as we deduced. But was it an accident, attempted a suicide, or attempted murder? Until the truth can be established, I imagine the police will keep Mr. Natsume in custody. Damn. Damn. I suppose so. Well, let's hope it doesn't come to anything more than a night in the cell. Oh, what's this? What's that man doing over there? He looks like he's trying to see into Soseki-san's lodgings. But we see the soap, right? The soap that's over there. Is something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? Excuse me. Could we have a word? Hello, good sir. Ah! He poses to... Oh, he ran away. He just ran off. I feel sure that I've seen that man somewhere before. Where was it? I do too. But I don't remember. Right, well, let's take a look. That's where the soap was. With the exception of the top floor where Mr. and Mrs. Garridab live, all the windows were bricked up. Yes, that's because of an old window tax that was charged on the number of windows the property had. Should have gotten closer to him. Well, we don't know what his intentions were, local. In order to pay less tax, the poorer members of society filled in many of their filled in many of their windows. But the tax has since been abolished, hasn't it? So the windows could all be opened up again, surely. Unfortunately, it would appear that the residents of this district can't afford to pay to have the work done. Yes, that is a sad state of affairs. Especially for people like poor Mr. Natsume, who have to live all cooped up in a windowless room. I suppose that's the price you pay for living in very cheap accommodation. It all seems rather pointless when you put it like that. The bicycle again. There always seems to be a bicycle outside the Garadab residence that seems to be broken. No matter their intentions, getting closer couldn't hurt. True. But still, what if they pull out a knife, you know? I read their bicycles are extremely popular all over Great Britain at the moment, in fact. That one seems very warped though, especially the front wheel. Is that to make it more of a challenge to ride, do you think? No, it crashed. It crashed. Ryunosuke, it crashed. No, I'm afraid that may be a result of the rider's incompetence. For the front wheel to be so badly warped, I'm afraid the rider may have been similarly afflicted. Then there's a good chance Mr. Natsume has been practicing on his bicycle, I think. Oh dear. I fear you may be right. Let's look at the door. The Garadab household and Mr. Natsume's lodgings are in a prominent position there on the corner. Sometimes when I look at the building, I can't help feeling that it's at a bit of a slant. Honestly, it's probably the pillar here. Yeah. It does look as though it would collapse in even the smallest earthquake, doesn't it? And isn't it supposed to be haunted as well? I think I might have a hunch as to why Soseki-san is such a hunchback. Okay, let's look to the left side, or the right side. Snowman, hello buddy! Why is someone built the snowman on some sort of pedestal, do you think? I think it's meant to be like the police pedestal or something, right? It's not a pedestal, Mr. Naruhodo. It's part of the snowman's body. Really? Really? But it already has a perfectly good body. Well, it's true that British snowmen are usually made of 2 balls of snow. Perhaps this is a foreigner? Okay. And now we're looking at him as if he's strange. Poor man. I know how he feels. If anything, it's Japanese and British 2-balled snowmen that are the strange ones, isn't it? Well, then we get stabbed, Susada gets charged with murder as closest person standing, and as a great lawyer, we can't die since we have to defend her, and we gotta find a plan to process. Yeah, now Susada would just like flip him over. She would judo throw him immediately. After all, real people do have 3 sections: head, torso, and legs. Do you ever think that perhaps you think about things too much? There is oh, wait. London's blanketed in fog again today, and the sky is covered in cloud. But if you look carefully in the distance, you can just make out the Crystal Tower being built. The Crystal Tower, yes. The centerpiece of the great exhibition that's to open in 6 months' time. What a coincidence. We're currently in present day in 6 months, but still. Everyone's talking about the great exhibition of London at the moment, it seems. Well, it's to be the largest event of its kind anywhere in the world, with technology and scientists from all over. I can't wait for it myself. Do you think visiting students from the Far East like us will be granted entry? The last great exhibition that was held in London had more than 6 million visitors, it seems. And this time, the British are determined to make it an even bigger success to outdo the Paris Exposition. I see. That's an incredible number of people. I see. And with so many people expected to attend, we should easily be able to slip in unnoticed. There's always the honest approach of buying tickets at the main entrance, Mr. Naruhodo. True. But what if we can just slip in unnoticed? But look at that, the Crystal Tower right there. Lovely. Okay, let's move to... New location has been added. Okay. Let's go. The Garadam's room. It's been a hot minute. Oh! I was gonna say like everything's okay, but I see like the little burnt parts here again. He just covered it better. Here we are again. The eccentric landlord's eccentric top floor abode. We're here because Mr. Garadam's the one who discovered the incident this morning, don't forget. Ah, you chaps, eh? Yes, good morning, sir. Thank you for your cooperation in court yesterday. It was quite a trial. As much for Mr. Garadam as anyone, really. Came straight back here after all that business at the Bailey yesterday. Didn't expect to wake up to more bally nonsense this morning. I wonder if you wouldn't mind telling us exactly what happened, Mr. Garadam. Yes, I suppose you'd like to know all about that dead loss of an actor chap in the ground floor room. Those were exactly Inspector Gregson's words, weren't they? Oh, you're standing up. Okay. Let's talk. This morning's incident. It must have been a real shock for you this morning. I hear that you discovered what had happened. Ah, well, that hopeless actor chap rises at 5 o'clock shop every morning without fail. Oh no, not staring at the teacup of the smoke. Yeah, that's just one of his quirks, local. But at 5:30 this morning, he still hadn't lit the gas. So I went down and knocked on his door, but no bally answer. That's just curse, I know, right? And that's why he broke into his room by kicking down the door. No, he got Natsume to do it. Well, I called in that rum-looking Japanese chap to do the grunt work, of course. Wasn't it a little premature to kick the door down? The man could have just overslept by half an hour. That's very true, Mr. Naruhodo. If 30 minutes is oversleeping warranted such behavior, I'd have to kick your door down every morning. Well, you know, better to be safe than sorry and all that. Is it just me or is he avoiding her gaze now all of a sudden? Okay, I'm gonna make the conclusion that someone probably died before. You know? Like someone probably died before in his building. And that's why he has to make sure that like it's 30 minutes. It's been 30 minutes. So the gas lit. So maybe like someone died of like asphyxiation from like too much gas or something, right? So maybe that's why he like it was warranted because he had that experience before, is what I'm guessing. Except that it was a sorry situation indeed that you found on the far side of the door. Wait, hang on, let me present some things to him. I'm gonna present my armband to you. Hang on. Take that. Mr. Garadam, could I show you this? Been quite a couple of days, as you can imagine. I'm afraid I'm rather tired. Haven't really got the energy in the old eyeballs, to be honest with you. Some other time, then. What about the soap? Okay, same thing. Alrighty then. What about the guy, Mr. Shamspear? The victim's name is Mr. Shamspear, I believe. Is that right? Yes. William Shamspear took the ground floor room 3 months ago now. And how would you describe him? In a word, destitute. Destitute? Well, let's face it. The only redeeming feature of that room is the cheap rent. Anyone wanting to live in a place like that is either broke or has a bully screw loose. It's hard to choose which category Soseki-san would fall into. Mr. Naruhodo, that's a little rude. Did we say that out loud? He was doing research as well. Research? Into what? Shakespeare, of course, Shakespeare. Read a few plays of the old bard myself, you know? Romeo and Hamlet and all that. No, it's not. Sir, no. It's Juliet, sir. Yes, William Shakespeare is England's most highly regarded classical playwright and author. He's known as Sao in Japanese, you know? And many of his works have already been translated. It seems incredible that Shakespeare was shortened to Sao, though. Someone was too heavy-handed there. There were a lot of costumes in the victim's room, actually, weren't there? Of course, Mr. Natsume is a scholar for English literature as well. I imagine he and Mr. Shamster would have had much in common. Dots. Shakespeare interpretation disagreement leads to shocking murder. Well, let's hope it's not that. He's like a spear made of sham, exactly. Instead of a sham wow, it's a sham aw. Sham nah. Mr. Naruhodo, really? How rude! Did we say that out loud again? Yesterday's events, can you tell us what happened? After Mr. Natsume's trial yesterday, you came straight back, I believe, didn't you? Did you notice anything strange between then and this morning? Well now, must have been about 6 in the evening by the time I got home. I'm surprised I acknowledged real Shakespeare. I think it's because like Shakespeare, the copyright in Shakespeare, like, okay, so the thing about like Sherlock Holmes, right, is that like in Japanese, he's just straight up Sherlock Holmes. It's not Sherlock Holmes or anything. But when they translated it into English, they had to change it to Sherlock Holmes because of the Sherlock Holmes estate. Where, as in like, in terms of licensing and use of Sherlock Holmes. So I'm guessing like they didn't approve of like being like Sherlock Holmes, so they had to change the name. Which is why like Iris is named Iris Wilson instead of Iris Watson. Cause she's called Iris Watson in the Japanese translation, in the Japanese original. Snow was coming down rather heavily, as I remember. It was completely dark already. That failed actor chap was out at the time. Mr. Gurdab noticed there was no light from his room or something, I suppose. Couldn't summon the energy for anything much, so I just sat in front of the fire up here. It was after 8 before Shakespeare got back. And the chap was up until past 1 in the morning, I'll have you know. Suppose he met his end sometime after that. I was asleep by then, so I'm rather in the dark there. Well, thank you. That was very illuminating, literally. Sholmes wouldn't be caught dead in one reality of Holmes. I'm saying, like, Sholmes is probably, like, screwing with us, is what I'm thinking. Dots. Is everything alright, Mr. Sato? Should we not tell him that, like, Shamsphere is not dead? Well, I was just thinking it's a little strange, that's all. Mr. Gurdab, you were up here in your room all evening, if I understood correctly. Not a big fan of Stas. Of this blasted leg. Then, how does she know? Yeah. How's it that you seem to know? The precise movements of your tenants on the ground floor, I mean. Ah! I mean, he did say that, like, he did say something about, like, turning up the gas, right? So it's probably that. He's able to see, like, which gas meters are turned on. That's a very good point. I can't imagine you could hear noises from the ground floor all the way up here. Does this old man seem like a spineless... Does this man like to spine his tenants? Is that it? I'd say. I know what you're thinking, and it's a bully outrage. I'm ex-military, don't you know? I don't go around spying on my tenants. Why would I? Well, assuming he were functioning before it got there, yeah, Shrooms is just playing. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, the adventures of Herlock Sholmes are still a thing. He did solve those crimes. Like, all of his notes and stuff were taken down, which is how Iris was able to write them. So like he did solve all those cases. Right? Like I said, like with the deductions, right? It's wrong, but it's a little too close to like be like, oh, you know, like if he was just completely off, then we can say like, yeah, he's an idiot. But like the fact of the matter is that like it's close enough. It's close enough that like it's close enough to the truth that we can kind of piece things together if we look at it. That I'm sure that for me, I'm pretty sure he's just screwing with us. It's the gas woman. The gas tells me everything. The gas? Speaking gas, yeah. What on earth do you mean, sir? How can the gas tell you everything, let alone every time? Well, as you're probably aware, the gas is applied to the building by pipes. Yes, I'd more or less worked that out. Every room in the building is connected by a single pipe to the gas main outside, and the gas company supplies gas to properties via the main. Yes, I understand that too. Let me see if I can explain. Let's say I was to light the gas lamps up here. What do you think suppose would happen? Well, obviously the room would get brighter. Exactly. But at the same time, the lights in all the other rooms of the house would dim for a bit. What? They dim? Why? Because of the gas. Perhaps it's because when you light a gas lamp, it briefly uses more gas than usual. And that reduces the amount of gas in the pipe for the outer lamps that are connected to it. That might explain why the outer lamps dim momentarily. Mightn't it? Yes, of course! Because everything's connected to a single supply pipe. Is that supposed to happen though? It sounds rather undesirable. Totally good point. Fact is, the gas company's pipes in these pots are pretty hopeless. Long worn out. And barely got any gas in them to start with. Opposite is also true, of course. Extinguish lamps up here and they go glow brighter in the rest of the house. Ah, right, I see. So by watching the flickering of the lamps in one room, you can determine what's happening elsewhere. You've got it. But how do you tell like which specific room though? You've got like two tenants. Like, how would you know if it's not Soseki that lit up the lamps? Like his lamp. Oh, of course. Because when people come back home in the evening and prefer to go to sleep at night. What you're guaranteed to do is either light or put out their lamps and fires. Clever. In point of fact, the room on the ground floor and the one above it use slightly different amounts of gas. Oh? But watching lights in here closely, I can work out almost exactly what's going on in the whole house. Okay, so that explains it. If they use different amount of gas, and since he is the landlord, and he's lived here for a while, right? He should be able to determine like, you know, which is which. If they do use different amounts of gas. Gosh, that's fascinating, Mr. Garadab. Absolutely fascinating. Oh, well, nothing to it really. And I can't really see that it's going to help us with the case either. What I'd like to know is why Mr. Garadab is so interested in what his tenants are up to in the first place. I feel like there's more to it than idle curiosity. Well, we've done as much investigating here as we can, I think. Perhaps we ought to go to the prison and speak with Mr. Natsume again. A good idea. Okay, let's go and meet Natsume. 21st February, local prison, cell 6. God, Natsume, I'm sorry you're here again. Look, Mr. Naruhodo, we didn't feed his cat, so Kind of concerned about that. Mr. Natsume, have the police finished questioning you now? Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Oh, yes. What is he? Tell me. Is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me? No, he's apparently alive. Let me guess. You're talking about Mr. Sholmes. He actually calls himself a great detective, Mr. Natsume. Not a ghost. But his diabolical deductions, they're not of this world. They've left me. Oh, cursed! I'm cursed, I tell you! Well, that sort of hurts. Credit to where credit is due, Mr. Naruhodo. You were heavily involved in the deduction too. Unfortunately. Very unfortunately. Yes, moving on. We have some wonderful news. He's not dead. He's surprisingly alive. Oh? The victim that we all thought was dead has come back to life again. Now, in the absolutely worst case, you can only be tried for attempted murder. Yay! That's great, isn't it, Mr. Natsume? It's terrible! Oh! I'm stuck in this cell, suffering for some silly wrong end of the stick. You did it, didn't you? Confess, you're a killer. Why the mustache? Constant questions. I'm sorry to hear that. That selfish shyster. Make up your mind. Are you dead or alive? If you're gonna come back to life, why bother dying? Wiggly wishy-washy William. So you two were friends. Well, it seems likely that Mr. Shamsir was never actually dead in the first place. Ah, yes. That might make sense, and I'm pleased that he's alive, of course. Our lively debate last night was much fun. I'd be sad to think it was our last. Oh! Oops. Sir, you gotta be honest with us. Mr. Natsume, does this mean that you did see the victim last night? You met with Mr. Shamsir, didn't you? Dot. I'm not saying another word. I demand to have a lawyer present. I am your lawyer! Who do you think I am? Please, Mr. Natsume, we need to hear your side of the story. Why am I cursed like this? I'm gonna present to you my badge because you need to know that I am a lawyer. Crap. Present. Have I shown you this before, Mr. Natsume? Oh, yes. The sweet, sweet aroma of our beloved homeland. It shows that the wearer is a defense lawyer. It means nothing in Great Britain, of course, but I still wear it. Oh, I know exactly how you feel. Look, I'm Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. My Haramaki belly band. I don't feel right without it. Your Haramaki belly band? It's perfect for the cold English winters. Just the thing to keep my tummy warm. I see, yes. I see the link. Almost. Can we show you this? Does this mean anything to you? Mr. Natsume, what do you know about this? Ah, there it is! That leathery lowlife that took my neighbor's life and sent me sliding into the depths of despair. Slippery, sickly, psychotic saboteur. You're really gone off soap, haven't you? Absolutely. And I've made up my mind. You're never gonna use soap again? The next time someone gives me soap as a present, it's friendship finished firmly forever. I see. Alright. I don't know that we can blame soap for everything that's happened, Mr. Natsume. What about the teacup? Mr. Natsume. It's nothing much, but... Ah, it's been too long since I've been offered a present with that delightfully humble etiquette of our homeland. What? It's not a present! You're too kind. I accept it gladly. Sorry, but I wasn't trying to give it to you, actually. Okay, let's converse. What happened? Can you tell us exactly what happened last night then, Mr. Natsume? There's nothing to tell. But, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, I'm eternally grateful to you for helping me with that accursed case yesterday. The case that saw poor Miss Green hospitalized after she ended up with a knife in her back. It's hard to believe that was only yesterday. After the trial was over, I trudged my weary way back to my lowly lodgings. And that evening, a past night, it must have been, I visited Shamspeare. So you did go to the victim's room then? As we feared. I didn't do anything wrong! I'm sure you didn't. I'm sure you didn't. I never been to his room before. It was the first time. Then why did you go to his room to begin with? What was going on there? Then what made you decide to go? I bumped into him when I arrived back at the house. We got chatting and it developed into a discussion. We had to go out, so I bade him farewell. That ties in with what Mr. Garadab said, that the victim went out and came back after 8. We met again later that evening, at around 9 or just after, when I took him some nice tea I brewed as a gift. So it was you who brought the tea that had clearly been drunk at the scene then. And I suppose you were discussing the works of Shakespeare, were you? Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. Romeo and Juliet. Who was the stronger? Who was the strong? All right. It's not meant to be a fight though. They're not fighting, you know, bro. Sir, like, come on. I'm sure. Such a stimulating subject, Shakespeare. And the debate became very heated, so you slipped poison into Mr. Shamspeare's tea. No! Never! Not at all! Team Juliet won. That was me. And when I left his room... like stronger in sense of character, or like what, sir? The flamboyant fellow was fighting fit, I swear it, categorically. Okay, curse existence, you gotta tell me. Mr. Natsume, you often say the same thing about yourself, I noticed. That you have a cursed existence. I'm sure I mentioned this to you before, but I've been here in Great Britain for a year now, and in that time, I've learned that it's no place for me. It can be very trying to live in a foreign land and adapt to the ways of another culture. There are foreigners everywhere I look, and they all stare at me, they all laugh. That's the impression I get whenever I go out. It makes me scared to leave my room. Which is why I've become a recluse, but even my room, I find no respite from my fears. I moved more times than I can remember, and then 1 week ago, I moved into Briar Road. But why? I mean, What did you choose that place? It doesn't seem very comfortable. Wait. A week ago. Yeah, a week ago. Because the rent is cheap. I have so little money. It spoke to me. Fair enough. The rent. Obviously, there's a reason why it's cheap. Because the room is cursed. Because someone died there, right? And that is why, like, he's so particular about the gas and why he broke down the door after 30 minutes. Cursed. Cursed how? The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there. Oh no! He was only a young man, but one morning, he was found dead, and no one could explain why. Surely no one would want to live in a room with a history like that. I didn't. When a letting agent recommended the place, I wavered. But I want books, and books cost money. A horrible history is a small price to pay. When I realized it would mean I could buy more books, I signed a lease like lightning. Brave or blinkered? After I moved in, I soon came to realize what I've done. I realized how horrible that room's history really was. Gosh, was it really so awful? Horrible history. How did a room's horrible history affect you, Mr. Natsume? What happened? At first, it was just a feeling. The feeling of beady eyes boring into my back, watching me. Do you think that might just have been your mind playing tricks on you? No, no, no. My mind doesn't know any tricks. It was someone else. It's been one long nightmare ever since I was given the keys to the place. A nightmare? You must have been having bad dreams, you mean? All the souls who died in that room to lean over me in my sleep and try to strangle me. That really is horrible. And now, I come to think of it, it happened again last night too. Oh? Strangle, so like you were being asphyxiated. You couldn't breathe. The very same night that Mr. Shamsir was writhing in agony from the poison in his body. I was on the verge of being suffocated silently by those miserable spirits in my room. Yeah, so like, when Shamsir was in his room, he turned on the gas, right? And then, because, what was it? Gyrodab already said that the gas pipes are not that great. So I would think that the gas is leaking into his room, causing him to asphyxiate because there is no window for that. His windows are pretty sealed, right? So Soseki was asphyxiating, and I'm guessing that the person that lived in Soseki's apartment before died from asphyxiation because there was too much gas in his room. So he basically died in his sleep. And because of that, Gyrodab is very very particular about like his residents in terms of like their usual like coming and goings, because like, you know, like someone died under his watch, right? So he doesn't want that to happen again. That's what I'm guessing. You simply must move out of that room as soon as possible. Yes, you're right. I know it. And that's why. I'm already searching for the next room of history to call home. I think perhaps you should try to avoid accommodation of any kind of history at all. Otherwise, I'm scared that you yourself may become history. Phew! The Sada-san sure knows how to make the man listen. Alright, we gotta defend you, right? Of course. Mr. Lord of the Manor is worried about the curse in my room as well. You mean Mr. Garadab? Yes, he knows that if people keep dying there, he'll never be able to rent it out again. Yep. Well, that's true. I, for one, wouldn't go near the place. Ah, perhaps that may explain why the landlord placed so much attention to the gas lamps and his tenant's movements. You mean, because he's worried about their well-being? He does seem to have an unusually keen interest in the amount of gas in the pipes. There must be a reason why he keeps such close tabs on the occupants of his let rooms. What do you mean, he pays so much attention to the gas lamps? Oh dear, no, it's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsume. Please, forget I said anything. Oh, now you're talking about me behind my back as well. What's important is that Mr. Shamsur isn't in fact dead at all. Once he's come around and he's able to tell us what happened, we'll be able to get you released. Oh, yes please. Oh, I do hope you're right. Excuse me. Oh, this is Gregson. Inspector Gregson. I couldn't help overhearing what you just said. And on that note, I have some good news and some bad news. Tell us the bad news, please. Oh. What do you want to hear first? Always, every time. The bad news comes first. When hope is all you have, hold on to it. That's my guiding principle. Right, well, in that case, the good news it is. Sir? Huh? Sorry, but it's just a lot easier to explain everything that way. And why did you ask my preference? As you might have heard, the victim, Mrs. Shamspeare, was just unconscious. He's come round now. Yes. We saw it happen in all its terrifying glory. He's still being treated by the doctors, but we've managed to get a written statement from him already. Oh, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Natsume? Oh, thank goodness. It's all over then. I can leave this somber cell. He's implicated you for the crime, didn't he? He's implicated Soseki. Sorry, no, that's not on the cards. What? Whatever not, Inspector. Mrs. Shamspeare has implicated someone as being responsible for what happened last night. Implicated someone? Oh dear. You don't mean... I'm sorry to say I do, yes. He's pointed the finger at you, Mr. Natsume. Ah! By sweet poison did he seek to end my life. That wickedest caitiff, Soseki Natsume. No! So I'm afraid you'll be appearing in court as planned. You'll be wanting to make the necessary preparations. No! Well, we knew that we were gonna have to defend him regardless, so. And so, once again, Soseki-san found himself having to take the dock in the Old Bailey. Whether his room was haunted or whether he was just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day, I would represent him in court and do my utmost to break the curse that blighted him. To be continued, let's go! Okay, we completed part 1 of this. Yay. We're gonna save our progress, lovely. Nice, okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna call it here. So thank you so much for stopping by, I really appreciate it. If you have the rest of the day going for you, please have a very wonderful rest of your day. If you need to rest and need to go to bed like I do, then to you, good night. I actually do need to sleep. I've got some stuff that I need to do tomorrow, so unfortunately we will not be doing the trial right now. I think I will do the trial tomorrow. I think that's gonna be the plan. That's gonna be the plan of action, and we're gonna see what exactly is happening with Soseki. Yeah, like what exactly is up with the trial, and why is it so shrouded in mystery? Yes. So yeah, that's gonna be it for me tonight. More Great Ace Attorney tomorrow. Yeah, I'm also getting kind of tired, as you can tell. I think I was like yawning a bit more. So yeah, let's go do a raid. So let me pull out my raid message, my raid alt, and my raid sub. So let's head on over. I see someone that we can raid. Let's go raid Eri. It's been a hot minute. Yeah. So for those that don't know, Eri is an undead VTuber. She was recently brought back from a botched ritual, and now she has to wait for the person that botched up the ritual to help fix it. Yes, because she's currently playing Persona 3 Reload. I think she just got to Fuka, so yeah, let's go and give her a Snow Patrol greeting, show us some support. Yeah, so that's gonna be it for me tonight. More Great Ace Attorney tomorrow, and I will see you there. So in any case, Otsutoya! And as always, this has been Toya, and I'll see ya